Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kyrus Has Friends, the show where I sit down with people that I admire the most, and those people are my friends. Before we get to our guest today, if you are interested in following me and my nonsense and all the crazy stuff that I do, you can feel free to follow me on Facebook and on Instagram at The Vibe with Kai. You can also follow me on TikTok and on Snapchat at Kyrus Keenan. And of course, you can follow me on my website at thevibewithkai.com, where I'm always doing something, always putting up videos and blogs and all sorts of stuff that'll make you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. And if you ask now, I don't have it laying around here, but I might. No, I don't. I don't have it. I usually have it ready. But you can go get some merchandise. We have merchandise ready now, so you go visit thevibewithkai.com, get your shirts, your hats, your aprons, whatever your heart desires. You can go get it for 15% off. So make sure you go do that. But enough about me and my nonsense. I'm sitting here with a very good friend, somebody that we became friends. We knew of each other for a while, but we ended up becoming really close over the last couple of years. And I'm so happy that you are sitting here with me today. Professional stage manager galore, the wonderful Melissa Gaynor. Hi. Hi.
Hello, my love. How are you?
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride! Yay!
Happy Pride. What's going on? How are you doing? It is the one thing that you are known for doing, you are not able to do right now because I don't know if you heard or not, but theater is canceled for 2020.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you. I'm not sure if you heard or not.
Just one of those things. You know what's really fun is trying to move during this. That was super fun. It was super fun.
But you got to where you need to go.
And
You're there, and so like. I wanted to ask because your whole life has been dedicated to theater and being a professional stage manager and really perfecting that craft and being pretty damn good at it. And now we're at a point that like there is no theater happening right now. How are you feeling right now?
If you'd asked me a couple of weeks ago, my answer would have been a lot different. I was still coping and trying to find outlets and whatnot. I watch the Rent DVD, I don't know, at least twice a week, just because it's my soul, right? That's what it's all about.
No day but today.
Clearly, I mean.
How do I sound? It's been a while since I sang.
Yeah,
we
might have to call Mr. Demetz and just get a little fine
Peter, give me some voice lessons, buddy. I'm losing it. I'm getting rusty.
I mean, wait, let's hold that thought for a second. Can you imagine what the voices are going to sound like on Broadway after a year of vocal rest?
They're going to sound amazing. I've told people many times, I'm like, whenever people get the chance to perform again, that show, people are going to be singing their booties off because it's going to sound good. It's going to feel good. The moment that we're going to be able to sing in front of a live audience again, man, because we took it for granted. We took it for granted, and now it's gone. And now we're just like, I want to perform and sing again, please. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Well, and it's true for backstage, too. Like, I just want to call a show so bad. Like, how is the last show I called Frozen? That was in February. It's fine.
It's okay. How have you been dealing with the quarantine? How has it been for you?
I mean, I had a lot of adjustment. I sold my house for a lot of reasons, and I'm back with my parents temporarily, which is fine. So just a lot of adjustment back into that. I have been enrolled in a program at Princeton House Behavioral Health since January 30th. Quite possibly the best thing I've ever done for myself.
Yeah, and that's something that I definitely want to talk to you about
and we can dive
in a minute. Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So that has really given me an outlet and the skills to kind of deal with the craziness that is happening in our world and really kind of radically accepting that there's nothing that we can do about it. So you can only control what you can do and be as safe as you can. And I mean, we know theater is going to come back. It was around, way back in
theater has survived a lot of different plagues and
you know what I mean? Like on the caveman walls, like the cave walls, so it's going to come back. And hanging on to that thread is a lot,
I'm actually thankful for stage managers, and I'll tell you why. Because once theater does come back, there's obviously going to be still like safety concerns and health concerns. And if there's one person that's going to be very much in charge of the health aspect of things for the actors on stage and the crew, it's the music director. So I
I love you, Peter. I love you, Lori. Promise.
No, like, but for like the stage manager will be probably on the front lines of making sure that everybody stays safe, because that's what stage managers are known for. You know, if you hurt yourself during a performance, the first person you go to is like, oh, I need the stage manager. Ah, help. You know, do you like the nonsense that you've had to deal with as a stage manager? Do you miss that?
I do. I mean, because it's, you know what, no 2 days are the same. No.
Yes.
You know what I really miss is, yes, the performances are phenomenal, and that's what we all work toward. And that standing ovation that first night is like, yes. But what I miss the most is the rehearsal process, the collaboration, the hey, let me try this, and then seeing those little pieces throughout the process come together. Like that's what kills me.
Right. So what have you been doing to pass the time?
Well, I decided one random day that I was going to go to grad school, and so
no big deal.
Within the course of 2 weeks, I went to an open house, applied, got accepted, and started classes. So,
are you a Ryder Bronc?
I am indeed. Yes, so I am in
Ryder Bronx in the house, baby.
I'm in the Master of Arts program for Arts Management and Executive Leadership.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's really great. I really like the program. The first year for the graduate level. The undergrad level has been there for about 10 years now. And it's accelerated, so I will be done in August of 21. Yeah.
That's exciting. That's so cool. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I am too. Grad school's always been something that I wanted to do. It's just never really been the right time, or maybe the right. So this is.
Now is the time.
Now is the time to do it, right?
Right.
And because it's within the arts, I was talking with Kitty from Kelsey, and I'm actually going to work with her closely, just to kind of observe what she does and see, where along the theater, because you can do production management, general management, artistic direction, that kind of thing.
Right, of course.
What do I want to look more into? Which direction do I want to go? So doing a lot, as you say, with the safety. This actually just came out. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but this is the Safe Way Forward. It is from all the film and TV unions.
Okay.
About how they are going to reopen.
Okay.
The Event Safety Alliance has also put out a report. So what I have talked with Kitty about is I'm going to read through and kind of pull out the information and how it applies to us.
That's great.
Yeah. And the Event Safety Alliance is actually going to put out a report on just theater later this summer. So, so we'll have some guidelines to kind of figure it out. I mean, it is unique, we know. Many reasons. And
now, one of the things I did want to talk to you about is the fact that like I'm a pretty busy person, right? I consider myself to be very busy, even during the pandemic. However, if there's a handful of people that I know damn well were always busier than me, and that's saying a lot. You are one of those people doing show after show after show after show, sometimes show on top of show after show, during a show, before a show, before and during and after. You were always doing something. More often, you were doing 2 or 3 shows at one time. That takes skill, patience, and just a good strategic plan. How did you do that for so long?
Mind over matter. You know what it is theater feeds my soul, and I get out of it something that I don't get anywhere else. And when you're in a community like Kelsey, where these people are not just your cast, your crew, somebody you see, they're your friends, they're your family. They know more about you than anyone, even your significant others most times. Which is great, So it's less about saying, okay, I want to do. And I want to work on the shows. Like, they're all interesting shows. The different companies each have their own little fingerprint, and it's really a lot of fun to be like, okay, I'm wearing a Mauer hat today. I'm going to do it this way, or now I'm wearing an M&M or da-da-da hat. This is the school show, so we're going to do things a little bit like this. So it's a fun way to challenge yourself.
That's awesome. Now, though, here's the thing. So, and this is what'd you say?
Keeping very, very organized.
Yes. now here's the thing, though. Here's the challenge, right? Because this is something that you and I have talked about before, and something that I know you wanted to highlight. So, like, you just mentioned how, you know, you get something out of theater that you really can't get anywhere else, right? And we're at a point now that there's a lot of people that probably felt the same way, myself included, where, you know, theater just gives me something that I was not able to get anywhere else. That has been ripped away from us, and we're not able to do the thing that we love, the thing that we use sometimes as an escape from real life, right? That can easily lead to sadness, depression, anger, high anxiety. Just from my angle, and this is not something that I've said publicly, you know, like a lot of my close friends know about my issues with anxiety. And but I think it's important for me to kind of like just come out and just acknowledge that publicly, that I've often, even to this day, struggle with my anxiety. And it was very, very hard, still is times. I have my good days and my bad days where I struggle with my anxiety, because the thing that I have laid my head on all the time is not there.
Right.
I've gotten better, but it's still a struggle. And I know that there are other people out there that are going through, you know, the same thing. So I wanted to talk to you about mental health and theater and what it's been like for you, you know, before theater, before the pandemic and during the pandemic. And then we can get into just some, I guess, pieces of advice that you would give, because like I know you have a very interesting story in that regard, you know, and I if you feel comfortable talking about it, I'd love to have you share that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so important because there still is such a stigma around mental health, and it being seen as a weakness and as something that you did or that you caused. It's not. It's a lot of it is biological, and a lot of it is rooted in the environment where you grew up and where you were first introduced to some of these emotions and feelings. So, like I said, I am in a program at Princeton House. I have both major depressive disorder and anxiety, among other things.
Real quick, can you explain what the Princeton House is to the people that don't know?
So Princeton House Behavioral Health is affiliated with Penn Medicine. All they do is behavioral health. They have an inpatient unit in Princeton. They may have another one in Hamilton. I don't quote me on that. Then they have a bunch. They have 4 or 5 different outpatient sites: Princeton, Hamilton, Eatontown, Moorestown. I think I'm forgetting one.
This is and for those of you that are unfamiliar with those towns, we're Jersey people.
Jersey.
We're Jersey people.
Yeah.
So these are all New Jersey towns, all over the state of New Jersey.
Yeah. So you can go on their website. It's princetonhouse.org, and that'll give you all the locations. They do everything from acute, inpatient. So if you are really struggling and you don't feel safe, you can go there, and they have 24-hour admissions. Even with the pandemic, that hasn't stopped. I enrolled in what was called a partial hospitalization program. So I went 5 days a week for 6 hours a day for 6 weeks, and then then you go down to what's called IOP, which is intensive outpatient program. So I go 3 days a week for 3 hours. Princeton House, they've also got specific women's programs, which is what I'm in. They have child and adolescent, they have men's programs, they have addiction programs, they have mixed programs. I mean, it's like I said, the best thing I've ever done.
What made you? Was it your decision to put yourself in this program?
Ultimately, yes. So I'd taken a hiatus from theater for a while, and then came back to it and jumped in full feet, and have a problem saying no. Most of the time because it's something that I really want to do. And so I'll just figure it out. So I did really, really well the first couple of years, and then got asked to do a bunch of shows and didn't say no. So I was doing, at one point in the fall, I think I had 6 different shows on my plate that were in production, that were in rehearsals, were in going. And what I was really doing was running from what I was feeling and just not dealing with it. And which is not healthy. Not a healthy thing to do at all. Not at all. And it wasn't anything specific that had happened. It was just stuff that had built up that I just pushed down and pushed down and pushed down. And it ended with, on the second day of tech for a musical, I had a complete emotional breakdown and walked out of tech and walked away from the show, which is something I regret doing because that cast worked really, really hard, and I'm happy that they had a very successful run. You know, it
was at that point that you felt like when in that moment, you know, like you were saying that this was like a lot of things that were built up and pent up for you, right?
Yeah.
So do you remember that moment, like what you felt like that night?
Yeah, for me, one of my biggest struggles is not feeling valid, not being validated, and it had just gotten to that point, and I want to make it clear, it wasn't anybody's fault on the production team, on the cast, on anything like that. It was literally just the apex of everything that had been building for years, and it just so happened. I've never been that angry in my life, and I was angry at myself, but didn't know it at the time. Yeah, it was.
So after that moment, walk me through.
Yeah.
Like,
so
the days after that, like what was?
I didn't get out of bed for 4 days because I thought that I would never work at Kelsey again. And then I came back and did the school show the following weekend, and that kind of brought me back into everything and was okay. Then had another show in December that was not positive at all and ended up causing a lot of fights between the idiots, you know, our group.
Right.
And it really was because I was so I also have seasonal affective disorder, which is depression that happens when the days are shorter, when there's not as much daylight. So I had that going. Plus I was in the middle of another depressive episode. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to live, did not want to live. One of the reasons that I chose to stay was that I still had the responsibility of 3 more shows to call.
So are you saying that theater
saved my life,
saved you from making that decision, making that choice?
Absolutely. So got through that. We went to strike, and that following week, I talked a lot to my best friend, who you know, hi Hale, and she kind of encouraged me, and I didn't want to hear it at the time. Let another week go by, talking again. She mentions it again. Didn't want to hear it. 3rd week, something just clicked in me, and I realized that there had got to be a better way for me to live, because this is not it. I was miserable all the time. I wasn't getting joy out of anything. You know, I was doing what people expected of me because it was an expectation, not because I wanted to do it, so that was a Friday night. I had called Princeton House that night, left a message. They called me back Monday, said there was a waiting list, called me Tuesday, that the waiting list had moved up. Could I come in Wednesday for intake and start on Thursday? That was the end of January. So I get to Princeton House, and it's a scary thing if you've never done any kind of thing like that before. Like, I've never done inpatient. I'd never done that.
I've done outpatient, but I've never done any kind of
I mean, I have an outpatient therapist that I see. Sure. Well, it will be every week, but it was bi-weekly prior. So it's really scary. Let me tell you, the people that work there are the creme de la creme of mental health. They are the most caring, patient, educated, passionate, wonderful humans that exist on this planet, and they all just happen to exist there.
Right.
Every single one of them has had a positive impact on my life. They take the time to get to know you and to understand what it is that you need to grow. Like, no one can grow for you, no one can change for you, but they can help turn your mind to get to that point.
Is that what you feel was probably one of the most important, I guess, quote unquote, lessons that you've learned there? Like, things that you've learned, is would you say that that's probably the most important?
Yeah. Is that you've got to be willing to change, number one. My therapist is an amazing human being, and just, she's in the right field. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
So would you, the process of talking to somebody,
Yep.
is what helps you connect with like a good therapist? Is it them just listening, or is it them giving you pieces of advice? Like, for you personally, what was the thing that made you connect with them the most?
So for me personally, in general, I bullshit really well.
Okay.
And I can.
Are you bullshitting me right now?
Not even.
Are you doing it?
Bullshit you, Kyrus. Never. Oh my god. If someone sees that and can call me out on that from the beginning, I'm like, okay, all right.
Okay. So they
happens.
called you out from the beginning.
Yep, that happened with us. What changed everything to me, and I actually my therapist doesn't even know this yet, because I'm saving it for the end of thing. There was a weekend that I was there on Friday, and we were going into the weekend, and I did not feel safe. Mm-hmm. And one of the hardest things for me to do is to ask somebody to help me. So I went and asked, and she wasn't available. And I ended up like standing around talking to some other people that were in the program, and they encouraged me to ask again. And so we did, and this is like way after hours, and she was still there, and she talked, and one of the things that I said that I was feeling at the time was that I just didn't feel like anybody cared about me. So she's sitting at her computer typing, because we're doing something. She closed the computer, looked me dead in the eyes, and went, "I care about you." That moment changed everything for me. So yeah, I mean, it's that kind of connection that you get in this.
Right. Right. And so you put yourself through this program, and you are, for lack of a better term, graduating. On June 30th, am I correct?
You are correct, yes.
How does that make you feel?
Would you talk to Jess?
No, I'm just curious. Yeah.
I'm really proud of it. Like, I know I've done a lot of work. I'm in the DBT track, the dialectical behavioral therapy track, which is all about skill use. So basically what it does, my interpretation of what it does, is that it teaches you skills to use when you're feeling a certain way, and to recognize that, okay, in this moment I am feeling this, so that this is the skill that's going to work best to bring me back to a point where I can handle this effectively.
Right.
And I've noticed over the past probably 2.5 weeks that they've now just become second nature to me. Right.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like, the stuff that you've learned there, you're able to now apply. Like, even though you won't be in the program anymore, you'll be able to apply the things that you've learned.
Absolutely, for the future. Every single day. And what's funny is how much overlap there is between DBT and real life. Like, so you'll laugh. The one course that I am taking right now is on leadership. And they talk a lot about paradoxical leadership, right? Okay. Which is basically a director, right? Like, so you're right, okay? Yeah. Which is, so it's saying that two seemingly opposing viewpoints can both exist at the same time. Okay. That's the crux of dialectics. That's the crux of DBT. And so, yeah, I'm like, all of my lives are coming together. So it's been really cool and helpful to kind of take what I learned, because it's all telehealth now. So yeah, so we were in person until March 16th. Right. And then we've been telehealth pretty much ever since.
So now moving forward, there are certainly a lot of people, particularly in the theater world, that may be experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing, or may not understand why they are feeling the way that they're feeling, or may be just afraid to ask for help. If any of them were listening right now, if you could look them in the face and say something to them, what would you say?
It's okay. It's okay that you feel this way. There's literally an international pandemic going on, and there's national and international civil unrest as well. So it's okay to feel that way. It's also okay to get help. Ask a friend. You can go to Psychology Today, I think is the website. And there's tons of
Psychology Today, yeah.
There are there's the suicide hotline and crisis line, and there's a text line that you can text. And what those people do is, you know, they'll talk you down. For me, it was about finding someone that would listen and understand that, like, I couldn't handle this and get me to that next step, which was going to the program. But I think that the biggest thing is it's okay to feel that way, and that there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
You know, I mean, and even, you know, you do get help, and say you do get put on a medication, doesn't mean you have to be on it for the rest of your life. It could just be this unprecedented 6 months we're going through, you know, and even if it is, isn't it the point of modern medicine to make our lives that much better? Much more, you know?
Right.
So, you know, reach out to me. I don't care. I'm here. You know,
do you feel confident going forward, like seeing, you know, that, you know, where things sit now, in the world, and in the world and in your world, you know, in our world, do you feel confident and hopeful coming out of this program now?
I'm so much more at peace with who I am. I'm very fortunate in that I knew who I was from a young age, and was really able to kind of stay true to that, and still do. What this program has done has made me realize that even deeper, and realize what causes me to act certain ways and do certain things certain ways, which is awesome. And so, yeah, I'm completely ready to kick ass.
And the other aspect of it, and we didn't even touch upon this, but I think you kind of alluded to it, you know, just now, is that, like, you are a member of the LGBTQ community, and there have been a lot of very upsetting things that have happened, particularly to Black people in the LGBTQ community. The trans community right now, the Black trans community right now it's awful.
I want to hug all of them. Because you shouldn't be afraid or penalized for being who you are. You're not hurting yourself, and you're not hurting anybody else. So why do you have why should your rights be any different than mine? Right.
I agree. And it's heartbreaking. And I guess, what would you say to them, to people that may be, you know, in the LGBTQ community and afraid of what's going to come next, or what happens next?
That I stand with you. I support you. I'm also scared. To really reach out for support within the community. I think that's huge. There are a ton of therapists that specialize in LGBTQ and that kind of thing. My outpatient one has her LGBTQ sort of social work certification thing. License. I don't know what it's called. But you know, like, I wish I had an answer. I wish I could be like, don't worry, it's gonna get better. But we don't know that, you know. And we're coming up on the 50th or 51st anniversary of Stonewall, which the whole reason we have any rights is because of a Black trans woman. If she doesn't do what she does, who knows where we are. You know, we owe everything to her for standing up. And if there's anything that we can do, then ask.
I applaud you, Melissa, because I know that this type of subject is not necessarily the easiest to talk about, but it's important, especially when it's coming from important voices like yours. And when you reached out to me, you know, saying, hey, I want to talk about this, I mean, this was a no-brainer for me. And it just happened to work out perfectly. And like legit, cause like I was like, I need a guest for Wednesday. I have a Monday, a Tuesday, and a Thursday, and I don't have a guest for Wednesday. And then you just happen to be like, hey Kai, I got an idea. But I'm so happy that that you did, because I think that this topic is really, really important right now, and it takes a brave person like you to have this conversation openly, a candid conversation. I know it's not easy, but it's important, and I applaud you for that, and I really do thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. Like, honestly,
I'm happy. I'm really honored to have this conversation with you, because you know what, like, we've got to end the stigma, and we do. Like, there's no reason that people should suffer when the help is there, because you're just too embarrassed to get help.
Right.
You know, and if you are, reach out to. You can reach out to me. I don't care. I'll tell you all about it.
Right.
Like, it is the best thing you can do for yourself.
Absolutely.
Because theater and mental health are so closely related, right? I mean,
absolutely.
From the actor's perspective, right? You're putting on another persona, right? But really, how much of that persona is what you want to be?
Right.
Like, you're trying something on in a safe space that maybe it's a characteristic you want to develop more in yourself. So you're going to do that in that safe space that is on stage, and then maybe modify it for your own personality, right? So not having that, you know, like I was saying before, like, I'm missing building and painting sets, you know, like I can do a French scene breakdown if I really
The night is young.
Yeah, no, give me PT homework.
Is there any show that if you could pick any show to be your first show back, whether it's like actually possible to do or not, if you could pick any show to be like, okay, this is my first show back at the Kelsey Theater, what show would you choose?
Something Rotten.
Something Rotten, yeah.
100%. Oh, I long.
It's hard to be the Bond.
Yes, it is.
That is a dream role of mine. BT Dubs to play William Shakespeare in that show.
Stage manager for that. You know, we had rights, right? It was supposed to be March 20th.
Oh man.
It's gonna happen. It will happen.
All right. I want to come out. I want to play William Shakespeare so bad. Come on, a black William Shakespeare. Come on.
John Mauer, do you hear this? John Mauer.
John M. Mauer. Hope you're listening. I'm ready to audition. I'm ready. Look at this mug. How do you say no to this? This is my headshot. Take a screenshot, John. Take a screenshot. This is my headshot right here. Melissa, I love you. Thank you so much for sitting with me and for chatting. And once this whole thing is cleared up, we are going to go get an alcoholic beverage, and we are going to sit and talk and do things like we always used to do back before the world started catching on fire.
I know. Is it weird that I miss Uno's? Is that
no?
weird?
It's not weird at all. You know, Uno opened back up. It's back. It's open again. The outdoor section is back open, so we might have to like make a little trippy trip.
A little Kelsey night there.
I know, we might have to make a little trippy trip. I got my mask.
I do too.
My mask. Be ready to go.
Wait, mine is the Stage Manager Association logo.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, Melissa, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sitting with me. My friends, if you enjoyed watching this right here, once again, you can follow me on Facebook and on Instagram at The Vibe with Kai. You can also follow me on Snapchat and on TikTok at Kyrus Keenan. I do have a policy on Snapchat. If you send me a picture of you smiling, I will send you one right back, because smiles are meant to be shared. And then once again, if you go on my website, thevibewithkai.com, you can see videos and blogs all about how you can be good, do good, feel good, live a good life full of good vibes, and you can get your merchandise 15% off if you do it right now. That's how you promote stuff. Melissa, I love you. Everybody else, thank you so much for watching. I love you. Good vibes. Yay! Happy Pride!
That was so fun.
Happy Pride.